How's it, everybody? My name is Nicholas and welcome to the very first episode of Drowning. This will be my first time recording this episode, and hopefully, it won't be my last time recording this. This series will most likely be a 20-part series. So, yeah, thank you all for listening, and thank you all for sticking with me through this. And yeah, with that, let's begin. Dark. Why is it so dark? All that I can feel is cold, and surprisingly everything surrounds me. It's it's like a darkness you can't explain, but something else with it. It's crawling up on me and I can't stop it. But do I want to stop it? So I just close my eyes. All of a sudden I hear a ringing. It's my phone. It's my alarm clock. I look at it and the time, oh, it's just 6 o'clock. I have to be at work at 8, so I have a little bit more time to rest. I close my eyes and I just slumber off. I look at my phone again a while passed, and I think, oh, it's just 10 minutes had passed. I look at it and suddenly I'm awoke by seeing that it's half 8. I immediately jump up from my bed, and me grabbing my clothes and running towards the bathroom to get dressed is one action. As I run, grabbing everything and making sure that everything is ready for me to go, I just hear a faint noise coming from the Kitchen. It's my mom. She's saying that it's alright. She already let them know that I'm going to be late and that everything is prepared for me just to grab as I go out the house. As I'm going through the hall, I grab everything that I can to get dressed. As I enter the bathroom, I slip and fell. My arm is immediately, it is directly under me, and I'm just grabbing it to see if anything is bruised and or scarred. And luckily for me, it's not. As I fall, I hear a faint voice coming once again from the kitchen. It's my mom. She's just asking, am I alright? I just reply with, yes, I am. It's just a minor bruise. Luckily for me, I've always had a higher pain tolerance than most. As I get dressed and get ready, I head to the kitchen, and as soon as I go into the kitchen, I see a cup ready, and I also see a small lunch bag for me. I grab it and I immediately run out of the kitchen and head out to the main street. As I go out, I immediately start sprinting because I know I'm going to be severely late for my job. As I go through all the streets, I am just wondering, why didn't I just get up? That isn't like me. I immediately get up the moment that my alarm clock goes off. As I go through, just checking myself again, checking that everything is neat and tidy for my job because I work in retail and everything has to be neat and tidy. So as I walk through the streets, I just start thinking about random stuff. Once again, why was I late? Why didn't I immediately get up? And all of a sudden, there's this pain in my chest, as if something's pressing it. I am not sure why or where it comes from, but it alarms me. So I stand for a minute, I take a few deep breaths, and just to make sure that everything is fine. Everything is just fine after I start checking, and I immediately start walking again. Left with my thoughts, I just think of what I'm going to do for the day. Probably just going to stick in my aisle and just make sure that everything's fine there. And just, I know it's going to be busy because it's end of a month, so I'm going to be running around crazy, just like any other day. As I continue walking, I see somebody walking alongside me. It's one of my coworkers. She seems to be late as well. So as we walk, we start a small conversation. She just said she had a long night, seeing that it was Monday morning. Everybody knows that Mondays are not the best days for retail workers. But as we go through the streets, we just greet people as we go along. Just around the corner of our work, we see one of our managers slash supervisors. He is also seemingly late for his job. So luckily for us, we are not the only ones who will be questioned about it. As we enter the store, we are just greeted nicely by all of our other co-workers, and we are immediately pointed. And as we enter the store, we are just greeted nicely, and we are shown, like mostly when you're late for a job, to go upstairs to the main office. Luckily for us, that we are not the only ones who are late, so the blame won't just be on us. As we go to the stairs to go up, I am immediately once again feeling that pain, and I'm just nodding off my head, and I just ignore it mostly. Luckily for me, I have like I said, a high high tolerance rate for pain or any issue like that. As we go upstairs, we are greeted by the floor manager and the floor supervisor. They just explain to us mainly the procedures for being late, why, and they just ask us why we are late. Seeing that it is Monday morning, they also ask us to do what we call a alcohol test. So as we do that, we all come up clear and we all begin our days. It's nothing unusual, but it's a little bit of an annoyance seeing that it's Monday. It's a ton of work that has to be done before the day ends, and we immediately go to our designated aisles. My aisle being the one where I work with cheeses and also with any processed goods. As I start working, a client comes up to me and starts just asking random questions about the products that we have. But as I explain them, the person starts to fade, almost like a dizzy dream, or as if something isn't right. I just shake my head and it's normal again. As I explain them and go through my day, I am greeted by most clients, and I just continue normal day. As I go on my lunch, for my lunch I go sit on the rooftops. For me, it's relaxing and also it's very calming. Being in a retail, you're oftenly met with anxious problems and stress. So just sitting on top of the rooftops, it's nice and calming. But once again, as I just stare at the sun and just stare at the clouds that are in the sky, I am meted with that heavy feeling upon my chest. I just nod it off and I go on as I should. The hour passes much quicker than I think, and as I am going through it, I'm just wondering, what is this pain? What is this feeling upon my chest? But I just, like I said, I shake it off and I resume my day as normal. And I just, I don't know what's happening. This feeling, this uneasiness, this weight upon my chest. But no, nevertheless, I just keep going, and it's a regular day, helping out clients and also stocking my shelves. Going throughout the day, it's most like most of it, nothing special, nothing weird, but then out of nowhere, uh, something cracks. It seems to break, or it seems like a glass bottle that fell on the floor. I immediately run to it, seeing that I have to clean it up, and it's a woman that cut herself. She dropped the glass bottle on the floor and she's attempting to pick it up, but she does not know how properly, and she's cutting herself. Me running towards her, trying to warn her to stop. She just looks at me with blank face, and it fade her face fades away. I'm immediately alarmed, but I take a deep breath and I start to clean. I immediately go get the cleaning utensils we have for this procedure. And as I'm going through it, I cut myself, but the cut isn't deep, but it's weird. I'm just thinking, all right, just get first aid kit when I'm done, and immediately after that, the client who cut herself, she's gone. She was beside me all the time, making sure that nothing wrong or. But as I look back, she's gone. It's as if she vanished, but I'm just guessing she went out the store to get help or to get her wound looked at, so I paid no mind. As I'm busy cleaning up, I just feel weird. It's not like it's nothing out of the ordinary for this to happen on a Monday, but still it's weird. Why now? Why here? And for all why in my aisle? It's not it's not a plain or casual thing that just happens. As I am just finishing cleaning up, I I just go to put away all the instruments that I used to clean up the aisle. And as I go through everything, just making sure that everything's neat and tidy, I met I met with somebody walking straight into me and knocking me to the ground. As I am still busy cleaning up, one of my hands is immediately met with a sharp piece of glass. As I immediately spring up, and the glass almost seems to like totally cut open my hand. It's really weird seeing that my skin is quite thick that something like this would just happen. As I'm just now trying to stay calm and not trying to get frustrated at the client for doing that, I just show him off and show him away. I immediately run towards the first aid kit where it usually is. Unluckily for me, somebody had used it and hasn't put it back on its correct place. So for me, this is incredibly frustrating and incredibly annoying. But I just stay calm. I grab the nearest bandages that I see and I start patching myself. Immediately after that, I just go to finish cleaning up the aisle. Once I am done, I put everything away, and out of nowhere, I just hear a ringing out of thin air. It's a ringing that it's almost like when you just woke up from a dizzy dream and it feels like your head spinning, that type of a ring. But I paid no mind, and it gets worse and worse and worse. But then I'm just immediately reminded that the fact that I have tinnitus due to all the heavy metal and all the rock that I listen for all with the headphones always on my ears when I'm not at work. The ringing stops and I'm just presuming my day is normal. And with that I just go on my day doing everything like it's supposed to, and before I can wipe out my eyes it's the end of my shift. As I walk home, it's pretty dark. I mean, it's winter here, so it's getting dark about, let's say, 4:30. So anything past 5 to 6, it's pretty dark. You can almost see stars. As I'm walking, I'm just thinking about everything that happened through the day, how weird slash interesting of a day it was. But I'm paying it no mind, and I'm just going on as regular. Nothing happens, nothing interestingly happens while I walk home. Just seeing and just walking on the road that I regularly take home. I just look up to the stars and just sort of reflect on the day I just had. It was quite interesting and also quite weird, but all in all, it was a good day. Just yeah. So now I'm left with my thoughts as I walk home. It's about a 20-minute walk, so I have a lot of time to think. As I just think about what I'm going to do as I return to my home. Just maybe going to cook, clean, and then yeah. I'm a massive fan of reading novels and also just reading in general, so might spend some time on that. Or like last time, I will just doze off and sleep most of the night away. But yeah, I think I just think to myself upon how a good slash great of a day it was. A little bit odd, a little bit peculiar, but nothing too weird in general. And as I just enter my home, I'm immediately greeted by the soft and sweet smell of, well, I would say stew, but it's more of like, yeah, let's say stew. And as I just enter the kitchen, I immediately step on a wet surface. I immediately fall towards the ground with a loud thump, and I just hit my head. And I just think to myself, what the hell? This was definitely not my day. Even though I'm trying to pretend as if it was, I can definitely feel and I definitely know it wasn't one of my best days. So I just get up, I slightly brush myself off, and I just get ready for the end of the day. It was a long one. We sit at the table, me and my family. We just eat and talk a little bit about how the day was and how it was interesting and annoying it was for most of us, seeing that it was a Monday. As I go through it, I through thoughts in my head, I just think to myself, wow, it was definitely eventful to say the least. And as I'm getting ready for bed, because seeing that with all that it's already 9 p.m., that I should start getting ready for bed and just start ending it in general. As I get ready, I immediately as I enter bed, I doze off. It's one of those days where you just you just doze off so quickly that it doesn't even phase you to do anything or that anything matters really. But yeah, I think with that, this will be my stopping point and also my ending point. I thank you all for listening and I thank you all for joining me on this journey. This will be part one of, I think, maybe 12-part series. And I thank you all and I bid you all good night and a good day.